real actress.
And that's the part that
And
people don't understand. Like you just mentioned, she was grinding way before the
absolutely,
reality TV stuff. If you pay attention to most of them anyway, they have other careers anyway.
they have to. They
Even
absolutely have
before
to.
most of them, even before they even did the reality show.
Right. I mean, even full time actors like have to, you know, have to fulfill multiple obligations
Right.
on various sets,
Right.
as they're, as they're building their careers. I mean, you got Denzel, who makes a movie a week for the last 30 something years. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you got, so
So
it's,
so I just want our listeners to understand, though. I know we kind of transitioned from music to acting, whatever else, but I want y'all to know that your boy T. Anthony, as he said, he's a writer, he's a producer, he's also an actor. He's been in a few films, so he's speaking from experience. I mean, your boy Reese, I've been in, a few little things here and there, but
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
as T. Anthony yet. I'm not his level yet.
T. Anthony ain't T. Anthony yet. I'm waiting to see what he gonna become out in these streets. So,
But I just want y'all to understand that he's talking from an experience. It's not just a situation of, hey, it's just something we see or something we've read. There's also some things that are experienced also. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind too. So
yeah, this, God has given me a lot,
right.
and this multi-dimensional, um, when you've been given a talent, your challenge and your life's work is to multiply it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man.
And I think that's the one thing that everyone does not understand what their gifts and stuff are yet. Everybody has one, at least one, but
Absolutely.
how do you take that and put it somewhere for good use?
Absolutely.
And,
And surround yourself with the necessary people who can drive you. Maybe they don't do that thing, but maybe they are the ones God has put into place who will in some way open the door or set you on the path to do that thing that you do.
right.
And so, you're not always the person. Sometimes you're the door for the person who might introduce you to the person who is supposed to walk through it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so you know what I'm saying? So everybody has a role to play. And, the sooner we get on the journey of figuring out what our unique roles are in the greater scheme of things, the sooner we can all kind of be on a path to where we've kind of united ourselves, realizing that we're not here to work against one another, but to work for one another.
Right. Along with,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
we're all supposed to be hand to hand with this. You, you
Absolutely. And
know.
how our artistry is pushing that agenda. If
Mm-hmm.
our artistry is pushing that agenda. Because at the end of the day, the negativity is going to run its course.
Right.
And when we're all left at odds against one another, then what? Will the artistry and what we've put out into the world have been enough to to bring us together, to work together, to unify us as a body, to all these different things? Because right now it's like, no.
See, I think that's why you see so many collaborations right now.
Yeah,
Because in those collaborations, you might have someone that's a rapper, someone that's in R&B, or someone who's in country, and someone who's in
absolutely.
pop or whatever. And what it does is it slowly brings the collective together. It brings everybody together.
Absolutely.
When you look at some of these movies and you're bringing comedians together and drama, people that does strictly drama, you start seeing
Right.
them changing lanes pretty much.
Yeah, creating new genres. You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah,
So I think all of that is, is being, even though they were doing it in the past, but
Right.
but then it seemed like we had gotten to this mode of individualism to some degree.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
now it seems like now we're kind of coming back to, we are a community. We are together. You know, we're supposed to help and uplift, like you're saying, uplift each other.
Right. Right. So when I see and hear a Lil Nas X, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
doing country
Right.
and hip hop,
Right.
what it says is he has a unique genius. It's not that it's not been thought about before,
Mm-hmm.
but everything has its timing.
Right.
And this is his time.
And see, I think that his because of it might be who he had done his song with, being Billy Ray Cyrus, but
Oh yeah, that didn't hurt at all.
right. But I don't think people understand that. I believe it was Nelly who did try to do a country hip hop song also. I can't remember the name of the song right now.
Country Grammar. That was the album, right?
No, yeah, it was the album, but he had done a song with a country person or a rock person. I can't remember what the song. If I could remember, I would say it. But again, those type of collaborations, those bringing different genres together, is not necessarily new.
Right.
I think some of that also with right now is social media and just how fast information is getting out there too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also to that end, I remember seeing I mean, you had this, it was a big thing about the collaboration between Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj.
Ah, yes.
And that was a big thing for the people of God.
Right, yeah, right.
So, that was a big thing, but it also spoke to the idea that creatives from no matter what platform have this thing that they can create electrifying productions or whatever they put out, and like you can do those kind of things. And another thing that I remember seeing when you were talking about that was there was an event that President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama are forevers. They held at the White House, and I think it was like their last big musical thing before they left, before their administration left out.
Mm-hmm.
And Common had performed "Glory," which was on the soundtrack to Selma.
Mm-hmm.
But John Legend, he was not there that night because he did the hook on there. He sang the hook on there.
Right.
Who they had to sing the hook was a collaboration between Common and Yolanda Adams.
Yeah.
And she just she killed it in a whole different way.
Right.
And I was like, wow, like, man, like it was a moment, dude.
Yeah.
So you take these two people who are at the top of, who are just like stars out in the stratosphere in their own perspective genres,
right,
who have come together and created this moment that was just like huge. I'm like, oh my goodness, like they just killed it.
Yeah.
But those things, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's nothing different from like cross multi-dimensional disciplines. Like you're putting things together, seeing what works, seeing how it vibes, seeing what the response is.
Right.
It's a great thing when artists can do that.
Yeah, I think it also comes down to mutual respect.
Absolutely.
You get what I mean? Because you it's not always about the money. You have to be able to work with that person. And if you got to go out there and sell the album or whatever it might be,
absolutely,
you have to have some type of respect for that person. As much as people used to talk about Tupac and Biggie, their differences back in the day. And when you start to look at all these documentaries that are coming out right now, because I'm not going to go by speculation from in the past. Let's go by all the stuff y'all could look at right now. you see the respect that they have for one another.
Right. Absolutely. Yep.
You get what I mean?
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, whatever might have been going on with them personally, it doesn't seem like it was anything. It's just that they just never spoke to each other to clear the air.
Isn't that something?
And I think that that's one of the things that we as a people, we need to do that anyway. Just to, if you have aught with your brother, you need to talk to them, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, communication. Oh my goodness. In my position as a therapist, and I counsel men who are court ordered as a result of domestic violence charges,
Okay.
most often with their intimate partners.
Gotcha.
So we talk a lot about communication and communication styles.
Wow. Okay.
And sometimes two people just have two different styles, but are unable to interpret one another's style in a way that they can understand it. And so when you come to the end of your understanding about what a person says or does, then the first thing we often rely upon is negative confrontation,
right,
argumentative behavior, physical violence, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, all these different things. So when we come to the end of our own understanding, the first thing I know to do is to attack your character.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets crazy, and that escalates to the point where now we putting our hands on each other. Now somebody's locked up or dead,
right?
And these situations happen all the time. But that's why the artistry is so important, because if you're reinforcing that I need to go and sit down and work things out with somebody that I'm having issues with or lack of understanding of, if you're reinforcing that and you have a big platform, I'm listening to you.
Right.
I'm doing what you say do. Even if that song is coming out of your personal experience, I'm that's driving me in some way.
Right.
It's pushing me in some way. And that can be for the good or for the bad.
Right.
And so the artistry is so important to the time and to the culture. It was Nina Simone who said, as far as I'm concerned, an artist's job is to reflect the times. So, you know what I mean? So we've come down through the generations, and we've been, we started singing about God, and then we started singing about love and relationships and, soul music. And then we started singing about, when we come into the era where, hip hop is making its mark, and there's some socio-political undertones coming out of hip hop, and it's a really great thing for the culture, but not for the establishment.
Right.
And so now what you got are challenges toward the establishment, and it was a great thing because we had a whole community, we had platforms and artists unifying themselves, fighting for the common good of the communities. And then when the industry decided that they wanted to change that and put controls on the airways and certain sounds and certain messages being conveyed, then those things kind of took a left turn.
Right.
So now we're in this very kind of confusing place where it's hard to identify exactly what pulse or what personality the industry has, because it's kind of all over the place right now. There's some really great talent out there, and there's some really great talent that has yet to be heard. And I think that there's a lot of people who are really working hard to restore the luster of not only hip hop, but several genres throughout the industry. And, there's so much that you can do independently now as an artist, whereby, years ago, all right, if you wanted to put that out, if you wanted to put that sound out there, if you wanted to do this and you wanted to reach this many people, you had to have a major deal.
Right.
But then what parts of yourself do you compromise?
Right.
Do you give away in order to meet the terms of that deal was also an issue too. So, I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot, but there's a lot more education going on.
Yeah.
as far as the industry is concerned. People are educating themselves. A lot of industry veterans are educating younger entertainers and
Mm-hmm.
performers, which is a really